and welcome to All Things Newark. I'm Karen Dinkins, your host, and our all-male panel is here today to discuss male-female relationships and some of the challenges we may have dating over 40. Ladies, get ready for an interesting and enlightening program. Thank you all for agreeing to appear on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you
You're
much.
welcome. Let's just start with your name, your age, and your status. Married, single, divorced? I hope you're not married.
James Rashid, 58, and widower.
Alex Blackmore, 53, divorced.
Leslie Arthur, 59, single.
Yeah, Raymond Hall, single and 41.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you so much. So now we are going to jump right in, guys, and we're going to talk about your approach. Now, your approach to a woman might be a little different than it was a few years ago, but we want to hear about how would a woman know that you would be interested?
Well, honestly, I'm not that polished.
Okay.
It's just a matter of the person, who I see walking down, or wherever I see, wherever it happened to be. Mm-hmm. I'll walk up and I'll say, hello, my name is, and if I'm sort of given a visual clue.
Clue.
That
With the eyes across the room, visual clue?
No. I'm talking about if I'm here.
Uh-huh.
If you don't see me from the other side of the room and I approach and I get to a certain point and you see the eyes roll and sort of I'm going to the back of your head and all like I'm stage left
right.
type of deal. But okay. It's just I walk up and I say hello.
So you're pretty straightforward.
Yeah,
with your approach.
Yeah. I've gotten past the point where I'm sort of sending friends to go ask someone to get whether or not they're interested in that guy over there.
Okay. Now, Les, what's your approach?
My approach hasn't really changed. Mm-hmm. I've noticed guys getting shot down by being cute or funny or silly. So I'm usually pretty straightforward. I agree with him.
Okay.
How's it going? How are you? Mm-hmm. If I get a vibe that someone is light and can handle a joke, I might say something silly.
Okay. Kind of break the ice a little bit.
Like, do you have a job?
Okay.
But usually yourself. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, James, what do you do?
My approach, I don't really have an approach. I'm a mortgage consultant, and I meet people every day. And I talk to people and try to learn more about them. And I'm very goal oriented, so I look for people who have same values and just try to get to know people.
Okay.
So I have a lot of people that I associate with, but until we sit down and have an intimate conversation, there's no approach. I think I'm a very spiritual guy, and I think that it's all planned already. That I'm going to meet the person that I need to meet.
Okay. So now, is that like if you're doing mortgages, you meet people all the time, so then what's the next discussion if it's not about mortgages? Do you say, hi, would you like a cup of coffee, or
Yeah, well, actually, I never dated. I was married for 24 years.
Oh.
So I've been out of the game for a while.
All right. So now you're getting your feet wet.
Yeah, but not really. I'm letting it come to me.
Okay.
I'm letting it come to me. And I've never dated anyone that's been a client of mine. Okay, so I keep it that way. So, I wait for someone to introduce me to someone, or someone who knows what I'm about.
Okay.
And
so referral based.
Referral, yeah. But I haven't really been targeting. I've tried sometime, and sometimes you get that look or whatever.
So you guys are familiar with the look.
I used to think I'd give somebody my card and be like, and I never got a call back. So I was like, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
So.
So Alex, what's your situation?
So
do you have an approach?
I don't. The look is an interesting thing because the look sometimes can be deceiving. But it is true that look is an invitation if I see it. And I say, oh, okay. And usually, I've heard women say they try not to smile because men misinterpret that smile.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But if a woman smiles at me and I'm interested, then yes, I will approach. And if I approach, then it is pretty straightforward. There's no pulling punches. It's usually an invitation to have a cup of coffee. It's very clear, because I've learned that it makes no sense to cover it. Some women have told me that they would prefer to know that I'm not interested in them that way. They'd like to get to know me first. And I say, well, I'm not going to play that game. So if that's the game they would like to play, that's not the game I'm playing.
I also like to ask up front if you're married,
Right.
engaged,
Right.
seeing anybody seriously. I want to get that within those first 5 minutes, because
To know what the situation
know what the
is.
situation
know their
is,
status.
know their status. Right?
Yeah, because when you say, would you like to have a cup of coffee with me or lunch, that usually elicits a response of, that's not appropriate, or sure, or maybe not now, later. So at least it clears it up very quickly.
Now, I was speaking to somebody the other day, and they told me that now women approach the men. They say, Karen, I don't even, do anything because 95% of the women approach the men. What is your thought or feeling about that, James?
Is your friend a bodybuilder, or is he well cut? Is he
No.
Idris? Is Idris?
No.
I mean, I've actually.
What?
It could be. It's in some part it's regional as well. Well, it's dominant. I mean, because I'm in Chicago when I was there. I would, you would be there. I mean, and women were sort of very sort of, were more obvious.
Right.
Sometimes the look would be more pronounced. Sometimes you would have someone just walk up and say hello. I mean, because I was in Chicago for about 2 years, and I had a woman just walk up to me and say, "Hi, my name is," and she basically rattled down her resume.
Yeah, I am interested.
And I was like, okay.
Were you open to that?
Huh?
Were you open
Absolutely.
to that? Okay.
I mean, the thing is, it's like, why sort of why shoot down something that is sort of presented and then go chase after something that is
Not.
no. It's like the whole thing about the hunt being a large part of the game. Oh,
Right.
no, you can keep the hunt.
So now, James, what do you think about that?
Well, I
in
mean,
terms of women approaching you?
I think it's complimentary, and I would have no problem with that because up front, and there's no guessing game. And like you said, I'd rather talk about what's going on up front and get that out the way, so you know where you're going.
Right, right.
Well, I think from as a man, I'm pretty clear when I lay eyes on a woman what it is I would like to know about her. There's no second guessing. It's very, very quick, very easy. So yeah, once I lay eyes, if a woman does approach me
Right.
and I'm in the place of, I'd like to get to know her, then yeah, I appreciate that approach.
Right.
And even if I'm not interested, I will at least have the decency to have a conversation with her, but also let her know just as quickly that I'm not interested.
Oh,
so that she
okay.
doesn't get misled.
Okay.
There's no reason for her to get misled either.
All right.
It's a very quick conversation about thank you, but no thank you, in whichever appropriate and kind and just the way I can do that.
Okay, all right.
It's always flattering when a woman does that.
Yeah.
And if the saying is, it takes two to tango. If you're interested,
Right.
then it's not a problem. Yeah.
Okay, so say for instance, is there a difference between you choosing the woman or the woman choosing you? Is there a difference?
For me, no, because well, the issue is how long. My last relationship was very long. I wouldn't even say how long it was, but it was exceptionally long. And
Is that a good thing?
oh no, yeah, it was absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely, it was great. But after the first day, who made the approach? Who cares? It's like yes, you sort of direct. You say what needs to be said, because one of the things that is my greatest regret right now. One of my closest friends, one of my closest female friends, is to go back to the first question, was someone who I did sort of this roundabout approach and ended up in the friend zone.
Oh, yes. Women are quick to put a guy in a friend zone.
And I've been in the
You cannot rebound from
I've
that.
been in the friend zone for 20-something years.
Yes.
That's a tough one.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, I'm sorry, Ray.
I mean, love her to death, but
Wish I could love her another way.
Exactly. So you guys are, it doesn't matter who does the approaching. So woman comes to you, James, hi, I'm interested. Would you mind going out for a cup of coffee? Or I'd like to take you out to dinner, even more. So when it comes to the bill, do you say, "Ooh, she took me out, so she's paying," or would you like opt to pay?
Well, I'm used to, taking control like that, and that's flattery too. But at the same time, if they offered to pay or they insisted to pay, I would let them pay. But I know on a rebound that I would make sure that I give the same thing, in return.
I'm uncomfortable having a woman pay,
Yeah,
and maybe it's just because I'm old school.
right.
It would have to be several dates down the road.
Right.
Yeah, of course,
Before-
yes.
before that
I
can
mean,
happen.
that too, what I'm just
But if
saying.
she insists, then of
yes.
course,
Yes.
But in general, I don't know if it's a control thing or what, but it's just gender role expectations. You're just used to being that
Yeah,
guy.
I'm used to doing that,
Yeah.
but some women, and they want to feel empowered,
Right.
and you don't want to take that away
Right.
from them. So if they
Right,
want
so
to
if they
do
insist,
that,
yeah,
then of course, but I'm usually the one that says, no, I'll take care of this.
I think a lot of women like it when a man is a man and treats them well and is nice and respectful and opens doors and is polite and courteous.
And you know what? That's great, because that leads right to my next question. Because really what I want to talk about is, what does it mean to be a man? Because back in the day, we all knew the man was the provider, the man took care of things, he was the head of the household. He was, the one that had the final say. And so now with women getting more, the feminist movement, equal pay, equal rights, equal treatment, how has that had an impact on the man's role? Because women are like, hey, I'm doing it for myself. What does that mean? And do you still open the doors because of that? Do you pull out their chair?
Well,
Let's talk about that.
Well, okay. For me, being a man is being comfortable in my own skin. I mean, I know what I take to the table, and as a result, I am who I am. I mean, and in my last relationship, and this is about who I am going forward. I don't plan on changing. Once I'm sort of connected with someone, there is a certain amount of designation or delegation, as it were. As to sort of who does what, right? It's not a gender-specific thing. It's just what's more. If you sort of get into a situation where you're a partnership or you're trying to develop a partnership, you have to let your partner know. Okay, you know what? We're not hunting and gathering. I'm not going out there and sort of I'm killing tigers. At this
Right,
point.
right.
So if you happen to earn more than I do, guess what? Let's spend it. Well, not necessarily. But the issue is, if we're in a situation, I'm not going to ask someone to sort of do less than they're capable of doing just because of my insecurity. And at the same time, if a person does not feel comfortable doing certain, it's a matter of what's convenient, what we're capable of doing. Because I was never very organized when it came to bills and to paperwork and whatnot.
Right.
So my ex, that was something that I sort of had her take care of. All things that I was sort of more, I mean, you know, sort of more comfortable with. I mean, that's what I
Okay.
did. So it's, I mean,
So you just play to your strengths.
yes, I mean, 'cause-
pretty much.
Yeah, because if you have two people, if you have a guy that is sort of not comfortable, that is weak at a certain thing. I mean, and he's trying to do it just because it's the man's role. I mean, that's a relationship that's doomed.
Yeah, but does it matter if a woman makes more money or
Absolutely
has
not.
a different position? Do you still open the door for her and pull out her chair and help her with her coat, or is it just everything is just equal now?
Okay, it's not okay. We're in a situation, or and this is one of the things that sort of irks me actually. When you are in a place and it's raining outside. One person runs to one side of the car, the other person runs to the other side of the car. Do you wait for the guy to come around, get wet, and keep on getting soaked while he opened the door and then go in, or do you get in and for the sake of not getting wet, you both just jump into the car? There's a point when sort of these roles become ridiculous, but at the same time,
Les, how would you handle that situation?
There are some women that will insist the car door be open at all times, and if you're dating that woman for a long period of time, you're just going to have to deal with it. There are other people that'll jump in the car, but I don't really think that. And I'm making a generalization. I don't think most guys are really
hung up on that.
hung up about money or status, so long as you are enjoying each other and you're respectful towards each other.
That's the key.
That's the key.
You know, that's the point about respect. So there's the roles that we have grown up with and watched
Right.
are not the roles that we're playing today.
Exactly.
So I think for me, I look at what I want out of my partner. I will open the door in a minute. I will walk around. I don't care how wet I get. I got no problem doing that. That's the way my mother raised me.
Yes.
So I will open the door. I will pick up the bill if I can. There are times where I can't. Okay, so I'll say that up front. I can't pick up the bill.
Yeah.
So the woman will, pick up the bill as long as the communication is clear. However, when it comes to this thing about roles, and this is where I get excited, because the roles that have been defined and that are being followed are from the cultural raising that has been done. So we've been raised in a Western culture that tells us what these roles are.
Right.
And it's pitifully led us down a path of how much divorce is there, and I'm a product of divorce. And one of the things that my ex-wife told me was, if I knew today, right, if I knew back then what I knew today, Alex, we'd still be married. And she said that because one of the things that I particularly did in the relationship very early on was set up how the relationship's going to work. I know she can change her tire, but if I'm there, you will not change that tire. She can change the engine on a car. She helped her dad do it, but if I'm there, she's not doing that. So
So hindsight for her was kind of 20/20.
hindsight, absolutely. And a year after the divorce, she called me for my birthday and said, "Listen, this is what went down." And so until I heard that, I was, I wondered, what did I do? What did I do right? What did I do wrong? So it wasn't like I did everything right. But what she appreciated was the setup. So the role, understanding who did what, and we didn't necessarily go for the typical gender roles, although there were lots of typical gender roles. Alex did the garbage, Alex did the house, Alex did the cars. She was responsible for the cooking, but I did the grocery shopping because she didn't like grocery shopping. So it isn't necessarily a hard and fast rule, but it is a making sure that the roles are clearly defined, and then sticking to those roles, because everyone cannot be the point guard of the team.
That's true.
Everyone has a place. And when I step out of my place, right, that leaves a hole. Right? And so if we continue to play the roles that we agree to play, the team works in unison. It works very smoothly. And then lastly, there are, in the dating over 40, I don't know that the relationships that work for me are the ones where the woman and I agree on what those roles are. So I get into that right up front. Right up front. Where is this going? Is it going to marriage? Is it going to children? Is it going to, we're going to have fun and that's it?
You have to say
Right?
that.
That's going to start up front.
That's
right up front.
very interesting.
Right up front.
That
Right
you
up
want
front.
that discuss right
Right
up
up
front.
front.
Where are we
I'm
going
clear.
and what this is going to be.
Yeah.
Let's define what we have.
Right up front.
So as the relationship moves on, if there's any problems,
But you said,
we were clear.
right. So,
But
James?
I've seen situations where people try to get to know each other in 2 days, and it doesn't work.
That's too much. TMI.
Okay, 2 weeks,
No.
no,
I
I'm just
know,
saying
but
that,
it's
right.
too much information too fast.
2 months.
Yeah.
Even 2 years. Well, 2 years is kind of stretching it, but you understand what I'm trying to say.
6 months.
And we can define where we're headed or what we want this to be, but you still got to learn each other.
Yeah.
You still got to learn
Absolutely.
each other's habits, how people respond, how they don't respond. They can say one thing and dress it up and look pretty.
Sorry, I gotta say this. the filter. Because you talked about dressing it up and have it look
Oh
good.
boy, the
And
filter.
then when you get into it, it's like, oh my goodness. So I will say that I have had the same filters from the very beginning. I find that when I cut corners on my filters, that's when I get into trouble. If I stick to my filters, and you can list out whatever your filters are, but if you know them and you stick to them, typically you find out very quickly if things are going to work or not. When you cut corners and you kind of like try to allow some of those things to go, and
Right.
then we end up with, and so that's the difference
But
between marriage.
my
and
approach to
marriage.
that is, make sure you have chemistry first. Have chemistry, then you can start talking about feelings, because people will sacrifice.
Yeah.
When they're not willing to sacrifice or compromise, then there's issues.
So chemistry. Now, how important is that if there's a woman that has 2 PhDs and she speaks 3 different
Don't
languages?
care.
If she doesn't get along with you, what
I
does it
don't
matter?
care.
If there's no chemistry
I
there?
don't care. Do not care.
I met, I met a lawyer. Does exceptionally well, and a couple minutes minutes into the first date, I was getting ready to chew my arm off so I could get out of the room.
Yeah, don't care.
Maim myself so I can leave.
I mean,
Maybe an economical person. I was like, I'm still waiting.
Yeah, I don't care.
Can I live with that?
no, and I sat there. I tried to be polite, and I tried to be see where she was coming from. Sort of see what, if it was a bad day, if it was just a moment, what it was. I gave
Everything.
You tried.
Yeah, because because the thing is, you look and you see. You're introduced to a package, right? Beautiful young woman, sort of accomplished, and
So you're trying to make it work.
the thing is, but you can't try too hard.
You got to have that chemistry.
Yeah.
That's
And
And I
important.
think,
That's
you have
very
to
important.
really talk to the person and learn where they're from,
Right.
culturally
Yeah.
or whatever, because they can be on a, they can,
different wavelength.
right,
It's different.
some people have to prove something, and it's not necessary.
Right.
You know what I mean? The lawyer, he's trying to prove to you.
Well, and okay. There's just all the detail, and when you sort of mention where you're from, right? There is a regional where you're from, and then there is the regional, emotional, cultural where you're from, right?
Okay.
Because I've met people from I've sort of toured it. I've been around this country like nobody's business. For work, and
And then where you're from?
I'm Jamaican by birth.
Okay.
And I've sort of met people who are from the South who just absolute sweethearts. In terms of ladies, because the one thing that you get, the one thing that you're told traditionally, or is that Southern women are sort of subservient or things of that sort. It's some version of that, but I mean, I've met women that are well accomplished. Done significantly well for themselves, and they're not the type of people that will sort of step on your toes as a man. I mean, from a
So do you
general
have a
standpoint.
preference? And I'm going to put that out to everybody. Do you have a preference for a woman?
I think I have a preference, just like they have a preference. You know, chivalry is not dead. You know, in my
that's
in my
good to
side.
hear.
Yeah,
No,
And,
it's alive and well.
it's like well, yeah,
That's great.
So you have to have a preference. Like they expect certain roles from me, then I expect certain roles from them. But like you said, those roles need to be defined. You know, I have no problem washing dishes, cooking, doing laundry. I have no
Absolutely.
problem doing those type of things.
Absolutely.
And that's to say that that's anybody's roles in specific.
Right.
You know, but
You want to put a smile on a man's face? When he opens the door for you, you reach over and open the door for him when he comes around the other side. That'll put a big smile on his face. And the running joke about that for me and my fellas is that, oh, reciprocity is a wonderful thing, right? So she'll give if you give, right?
Right.
And so I'm willing to show what it is I'm here to provide, but I want to also know what you're going to provide. I also want to know how you feel about providing what it is I need, how you feel about the cultural difference of what I need. You know, I'm a Caribbean man, and there are things that they say about Caribbean men that I don't agree with,
Right.
right? But there are some things that are said about, you know, stereotypes don't come about from lies, they come about from some half-truths or some full truths. And so there are some stereotypes about Caribbean men. Well, I like reggae music. Well, yeah, that's a Caribbean thing. But my American wife also loved the Caribbean music. So does that mean, you know, that you don't like Caribbean music because you're not Caribbean? No, but it is a place where we meet.
Right. Right.
some
Something
cultural-
that you share.
Absolutely.
And that is very important. So, gentlemen, we are going to take a little pause and we are going to go to show number 2. But what I want to talk about, the start of our next show, is about sex. Is it as important as it used to be 20 years ago? How do you feel about that? Or is it more, are you looking for a companion? And we're just going to talk about some of those topics when we return on All Things Newark.
That's a great lead-in.